Yeah, you can open the back door for you. Hey, my man, I got nothing.
I did like this. I told him, Olay, if he comes back here, Olay, baby, he's free. And that's what I said.
He said, brother, keep running.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm done.
Dr. Knowles, you have too much material in that suit. Knowles, we don't pass out business cards. We take a photo of them. So I learned from my students,
Right. Don't tell your mother. The car works. I was like, okay, good. We're going to watch the football game now. He said, don't tell your mother. Not nearly the great perseverance story that you shared with us.
Extra parts are not typically very good. No.
Did you buy me a drink? My answer is certainly, my dear. Do you want a cherry in your ginger ale? How do you want your Shirley Temple? John, I know.
Your mind was saying no, and your palate was saying
yes. Yes, and I like
that donut all day.
I like the Homer Simpson donut, right?
My legal status ran out, so I no longer was legal in the United States of America. So what that means is I had to work that job. I was making about $4 an hour, $4 or $5 an hour. But I've always wanted to go to school. The plan was always to go to school, but no one took the time to tell me, when you first come to this country, you have to switch your status within that window. No one told me that.
And I'm going to say this, and I hope people will understand I'm serious when I say this. God just had a plan for me. That's all it is. I'm just telling you, because I was undercapitalized. Actually, we started a business in 88. In 92, I actually had a nervous breakdown from a childhood trauma that I hadn't disclosed. I mean, I talk publicly about it now, but we won't dig into it here. But God just had a plan for me.
I think life was fantastic after I sold the first company, but then my wife became gravely ill. And now I've got a challenge because this illness is huge. She's in a coma. We don't know that she's going to live. I've got two little boys, one in, I don't know, maybe they're first and third grade or second and fourth grade. I can't remember exactly. There were two very small, young elementary kids whose mom had disappeared. And so I had a challenge. I couldn't handle this very large, uncertain illness on Cobra. And Cobra was going to run out within 6 months. So I was going to lose my health insurance. And I didn't want, no private company was going to take us with this big of an
that we were otherwise going to have to put on the unemployment line. Culturally, that was very devastating for us. And we spent, months agonizing over it and worrying about what the success of business was going to be and so forth. And I recall my dad just saying, let's just hang in. We don't have the answers yet, but let's hang in and keep scratching at it.
Your gifts and talents in another way, and you don't have the time you think you have. And after I heard that, I heard it and I felt it, and I just leaned over and I just started crying. And John, I have no idea how long I cried, but I don't even remember what was happening. I can't even say I was still conscious, as I was crying, but I just leaned over and I was crying. And when I sat back up and I'm just tears streaming down my face and, that ugly cry where you're sobbing and trying to catch your breath. And I said to my friend, and I said, it's time for me to quit my job.
Got my vision for law. As a young person, I got into trouble in my neighborhood. I got into trouble and my parents refused to get me a lawyer. And so it was going through the judicial court system without a lawyer that motivated me. I think Napoleon said people were motivated by two things, interest and fear. And I think I had a heavy dose of both. In the sense that I was terrified as a 10-year-old who had gotten in some pretty serious trouble. And so that got me interested in the law. And again, I set out to study law as a young kid and just stayed committed to that vision.
There's a saying that says, where there's no counsel, where there's no advice, people fall. Mm-hmm. So that means if you don't listen to advice, then you will fall.
Yes.
That's in the Bible.
If you fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Where everybody says, Austin, give up, try one more time. Maybe the light is at the end of the tunnel. It's about resolve. It's about going the extra mile.
Philosophy sounds maybe it sounds cheesy, but it's be kind, tell the truth, do your best. And I find that if you do that, you'll be okay.
Okay.
And when you don't do that, things goes down.
I believe that success is never a terminus point. It's not as if, well, with me, it hasn't been. The idea that you've gotten to a certain activity or a certain sort of marker, and then that has led to you saying, my work here is done, and there's not much more to do.
And this is one of the things that I tell business people, is that Coke didn't come out with Diet Coke until Coke was doing well. Okay, you don't start a second location until your first location is doing well.
To actually be successful, it doesn't matter how many zeros I got in the bank. If my marriage goes to crap and my kids don't like me, all the money in the world doesn't really mean much.
I believe my superpower is listening, and then it's married with being a doer, being a problem solver.
I call it the 3-second rule. People in 3 seconds sum you up. Your confidence, your appearance, I call it optics. From the moment you walk in the door to the moment you open your mouth, you had better be prepared. And by that, don't go into the room and open your mouth if you haven't done the research on why you're there.
The internet, whether it was mobile or whether it be computers, how do they get comfortable leveraging AI in their jobs and their work? And you see some of the executives out there that it is imperative that our organization adopt AI in how we do work. So that as you see, it's not a matter of AI against people. It's people who are leveraging AI and people who are not. Mm-hmm. And the ones that are able to leverage AI and get that value, that will be the career success for yourself. That's one of the things that I focus on.
Do the work, and then you can use ChatGPT to improve it, or to add to it. But do not substitute your brain with ChatGPT. You do a brilliant presentation on PowerPoint. You go to present it. The first question you are flawed because you don't know anything about it. ChatGPT did it.
Was to do it on the payment rails that MasterCard and Visa had built for gift cards, right? So now what we then elevated that to was in 2025, which is where we sit, the elephant in the room is retention, disengagement. And there's a lot of statistics around recognition, increasing retention. Dear John, thanks for being a valued team member. We can't be a great company. So we take these motivating behaviors that we want from let's say the hourly wage community, restaurant, hotel, retail, where turnover is a very expensive undertaking. So if you think about the motivating behaviors employers want from hourly workers.
AI can read the rules and tell me, okay, based on what you have as your content or your data you're reviewing, this is what we think you should do. Or you don't have any humans at all, and the AI says, I'm going to run all the algorithms all the way through with all these different agents working in parallel with each other and give an output, but still be able to say, this is the corpus or the boundary, this is where all these answers came from, to reduce the hallucinations. The biggest challenge is as these LLMs get bigger and more powerful, they hallucinate more. Now you can up your subscription and change your settings to be more precise, but really the opportunity for most businesses in the United States, even if you're Deloitte, is to train these models with your knowledge and expertise so that they're aids and they help you in your decision making. They're aids in your work. They're not necessarily replacing people, but they can allow us to be a lot more productive at this point.
Now we're in the middle of yet another big innovation super cycle that's being led by AI and deep tech that's fundamentally transforming business and how we do things.
The C2 Biz Growth Iron Sharpens Iron podcast family is wishing you and your family a happy holiday season and a happy new year. Thank you for listening and subscribing to hear CEOs share their authentic voices and lived experiences. I hope that you, like me, are inspired by stories of overcoming challenges and obstacles to achieve personal and business success. We welcome you to suggest future podcast guests and continue to share your comments. Remember to listen, subscribe, and share. Happy New Year.